Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to be looking at the new Blair Witch Project movie that's reportedly in the works. Game changer movie, the Blair Witch Project might get a new installment soon. So yeah, guys, I remember when I was younger, I remember the very first time I watched the Blair Witch. And back then, found footage wasn't really a thing. Just for those of you who aren't sure, found footage is basically when a movie's made, but it's from the perspective of someone carrying around a camera, like home video kind of footage style. You don't really see many of them around anymore. I think it's because they don't tend to make that much money. And lower budget horror indie companies tend to use that style because it's cheaper to make and it makes a little bit more profit, you know. But you don't tend to see them around much anymore. But yeah, when this movie first came out, found footage wasn't a thing. And I remember the guys that were in the cast that were in the movie, people thought that this was a real thing and it was real film footage, and they thought that these teenagers actually went missing in the woods. And I remember the controversy and it was just crazy. But yeah, guys, so let's jump into this article and see what it's about. Get your old cameras ready, because the Blair Witch Project could get a new movie in the next couple of years. It's been 24 years since the first installment of the horror franchise was released, and 7 since the last one hit theaters. And fans can finally get ready for a new terrifying adventure in the woods. Yeah, so I think this franchise has the potential to do something great. If you look over the last few years, horror's had a bit of a resurgence, and you can make horror films for real low budgets, and they make good money. If it's a good horror film, make it for a low budget, and it can make really good profits. You look what Blumhouse has done with their horror franchises; they make them for peanuts, and the profit they make on their movies is just crazy. But yeah, so the Production Weekly, via Bloody Disgusting, is reporting that the offering director Oliver Park has been hired by Lionsgate to helm the untitled Blair Witch sequel movie that could start shooting this summer. Additionally, the site informs the production company attached to the project is no other than Haxan Films and the team behind the original movie. So that's exciting. The team behind the original movie is now getting involved. So it's always exciting to hear the original filmmakers being involved in a project. You know, they're going to bring their originality back to it, hopefully. The Blair Witch Project premiered in 1999 and marked a before and after within the genre, not only because of its terrifying story and filming format, inaugurating what is known as found footage, but also because of the marketing strategy that propelled the film to make history. Yeah, like I was saying, guys, there was so much controversy around it because people hadn't really seen found footage. Found footage hadn't hit the mainstream, and people were believing that this was an actual real thing that happened, and it was more of a documentary, and people thought it was real, and that's why this film became so popular within its own genre of found footage. But anyway, the story follows 3 film students, Heather, Michael, and Joshua, who travel to Maryland to investigate the legend of the witch who lives there. To carry out their task, they go into the forest where there's various strange events that are supposed to have happened, and many people have disappeared. As the days and nights go by, the protagonists begin to lose their sanity and find themselves surrounded by a dark energy that plunges them into a terror that they have never experienced before. The audience lives everything through their eyes, and the cameras they are carrying, giving the film a suffocating intimacy and makes it a psychological terror work perfectly. Yeah, like you saw in the thumbnail, there's just that person's face just kind of shoved up into the camera. That's kind of where the found footage got elevated, because there's a scene where this girl's running away from something in the woods and she's holding the camera right up to her face, and you can see the terrifying look on her face, and that became the staple image of kind of what found footage was when this movie came out. The real success of the Blair Witch Project. But there is no doubt that the true key to success of the production was the marketing campaign, which had little to do with posters, trailers, events, and what's conventionally used. The focus on selling the movie as something real. Yeah, like I was saying, guys, people thought it was real, and the marketers of the movie played into that thing. They knew it wasn't real, but they hyped it up. Oh, is it a documentary? Is it real? Did it really happen? And the intrigue is what pushed this movie to be as popular as it was. Directors Sanchez and Murick are very clear during the casting that those who applied for the leading roles would have to be willing to do whatever was asked of them to give them a sense of realism that they were looking for. In fact, the 3 chosen ones used their real names in the film. Sometime before the premiere, a website created asking for help in finding 3 leads, leading to the audience to believe that they had really disappeared, as it happens in the movie. Yeah, so the filmmakers were just constantly playing into this realism aspect, that the cast actually went missing, and this was a real thing. And it was just told and told and told. And obviously back then it was a new thing, and it just got really popular. Another important point to add to the credibility to the story was the film's script was really short, which helped the actors to improvise many of their lines and their actions, making them more realistic. So yeah, there was a bit of improv in it as well, so they could play to their own characteristics rather than having to be stuck on a script. So that adds to the realism as well. The directors also used different strategies during the scenes to instill real fear in their protagonists, with sounds or moments that were not staged so their reactions would be natural. I think that's kind of cool. They should do that more in horror films. So, like, a scene is being played out, but the actor doesn't actually know, like, what's going to jump out at them or something, and you get that real kind of sense of reaction, which is great, I think. In 2016, ignoring the events of the second movie, the third film, titled Blair Witch, was released following another group of students led by James, Heather's brother. They walked into the forest once again to try and find out the truth about what happened to the original three. Unfortunately, even this movie tried to maintain the style and tone of the first one. It didn't have the impact, so a new installment should definitely try to create something that honours the original, but add something new as well. That's the thing, guys. I mean, you can bring out a new Blair Witch, and like I say, it's a really good property to try and revitalise. It's a good IP that people know the name of. Like, the Scream franchise has been revitalised in the last couple of years. It's been, brought back into the mainstream. People are happy to see it. And I think they could do the same with Blair Witch. But the problem is, it's a found footage movie. Would you need to keep it found footage, or could you take it the more traditional Hollywood route? But then, would it lose its core concept if you did that? I'm not really sure. But then on the flip side, if you kept it as a found footage movie, would it appeal to major audiences? Because found footage is quite shaky and all over the place, and I'm not sure if people like those kind of movies. But yeah, guys, so what do you think about this new Blair Witch Project movie that's in the works? Would you prefer the traditional Hollywood route, or would you prefer to keep it found footage? Did you see the original Blair Witch Project? What did you think of it when it came out? Have you seen it recently? Like, what is your thoughts on this whole thing, guys? I'd love to know what you think. Jump down to the comment section, and I will see you soon.